Imagine you would go from where you are right now with your video business to be making over $10,000 per month within just 3 months and then get that consistently. That is exactly what Mark did, and in today's video I will share his success story with you. All right, Mark, thank you so much for taking the time. I would love for you to introduce yourself real quick to the audience, to all the other videographers. Who are you, where are you from, and how long have you been making videos?
Cool, awesome. Hey guys, my name is Mark. I'm based in Paris in France, and I've been making videos professionally for the last about 3.5 years now.
3.5 years?
3.5 years, yeah.
And how long have you been doing it in general, like videos? When was the first time you picked up a camera?
Oh, I was a kid. I must have been like between sort of maybe 9 and 10 years old. Around that age, I picked up, like, we had like one of those old webcams connected to my parents' computer, and I'd make like skateboarding videos and stuff. So it's way back.
Nice. All right, so I mean, you've been with us for, what's that now, 3 months?
3 or 4 months, yeah.
3 or 4 months. And I remember before you signed up, you said that you're currently at like $5,000 a month, and your goal is to get to like 10, 15K months on a consistent basis. So what has happened since you joined us 3 or 4 months ago?
So a lot has happened in the last 3 or 4 months. I think for me, I've really changed the way that I work. I've put in place a lot of systems, routines, just, making sure that outreach and sales and all that kind of stuff that I used to do, like before VBA, I'd do like maybe 1 day or 2 days a month where I just sit down and write emails after email after email. Whereas now things are much more systemized. It's part of my routine. Like, I'll spend 30 minutes to an hour every single day doing a lot of stuff that I didn't used to do before. So it makes sales and managing all of that much more efficient, much more consistent. So that's one of the things that's changed. My whole approach to sales and outreach has changed as well. And I think I've become better at closing deals in general. There's deals that I probably wouldn't have closed before that I've closed now. There's opportunities that I've found that I wouldn't have thought of, pursuing before, that I've started pursuing now. So I've gotten better at sales, and I think the key for me really is that I've become more consistent in the way that I work.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of results has that translated into? I mean, you were at 5K a month. Where are you at right now?
Yeah, so I was averaging about 5K a month last year. I had some great months at 10K, and then some months where I did pretty much nothing. So very inconsistent, but 5K on average. And now in the last couple of months, I've averaged around 10K. So between 8 and 12K a month. So
amazing.
Yeah, definitely more, and especially much more consistent, which is what I was looking for as well.
That's amazing. So now that you are at that level, what is the next goal? What do you want to hit in 2023?
2023, I'd like to push the envelope to 15K, but making sure that I've, at least 10K a month consistent. I think that's really important for me. But yeah, I want to try and push it to 15K if I can.
So keep going on that minimum 10K that you have now, add 5K more.
Yep.
What's holding you back from hitting 20 or 25?
Just, going after bigger deals, building, bigger network of clients. And then next step is probably going to be hiring someone to work with me, an editor, something like that. So sort of growing the business as opposed to being just a solo entrepreneur. I want to make sure I've got like a really solid foundation. That's what I've been building the last couple of months. And then once I'm confident in that foundation, take it to the next level.
Nice. I'm so looking forward to that. So let's assume there is a person watching this, right? And they're seeing, okay, there's this Mark guy, he's a videographer, and there's this Nick guy, he helps videographers. Now, these people have been working together for 3 or 4 months and have gotten Mark from $5,000 to consistent $10,000 months. Now, that viewer, let's say, sits here and says, wait, I mean, that sounds way too good to be true. That sounds like a friggin' scam story, like some brought up bullshit. What would you say to some person like that?
I'd say I've been in their shoes before. I mean, to be very blunt, I was a little bit skeptical as well at first. I mean, I saw obviously amazing results, people talking about how great it was, but like, you can never really trust what you see on Instagram and the videos and all that. And I was quite skeptical as well. But the first step was having a chat with your team, and it was quite extensive chat, but just talking to them, I could kind of recognize some of the mechanisms that they were using, persuasion and sales and stuff. Like, I'd kind of see in the way they were talking, how they were working, how they were thinking. And that got me thinking, if I could apply their experience, what they're doing to me, but to my clients, so to speak, that persuasion, that sales, that business aspect, there's definitely something valuable there. So yeah, I was obviously skeptical at first, but it's probably one of the best decisions I've made in the last couple of years, and I've seen tremendous benefits so far.
Good to hear. Why would you say it is one of the best decisions you've made in the past couple of years?
So I made the decision to join at a time where I was like, as I mentioned before, it was a bit of a roller coaster in terms of revenue in the last couple of years. I had some great months, some not so great months. And I was at the tail end of 2 months where I didn't really have much going on. And that's where I figured, I need to make some changes. I need to, change the way I work, because obviously this isn't working as well as I'd like to. And joining VBA has achieved that. It's fixed part of that problem. Now I've got, much more consistent flow of cash in my company. So there's obviously the money aspect, but just the fact that it's built, a routine, a mindset, a completely different way of looking at my business and how I apply all those methods. So it's changed the way I work, and it's made me more confident in a lot of my skills. So yeah, that's why it's probably one of the best decisions I've made.
Makes a lot of sense. So there's many people, right? Especially videographers. They're not born salespeople. They're not born salesmen. And I was the same. I was scared shitless of even taking a single phone call with a restaurant to make a reservation. So I was one of them. How was it for you? Because right now you sound very confident. You sound like you know how to close bigger deals, premium client deals as well. How was it for you before that? Do you feel like you were a born salesman, or?
No way. I was pretty much the same as you. I was terrified of picking up the phone. I was scared of not necessarily sending out emails, but whenever I'd get a response from someone saying I'm not interested, I'd feel really bad because I felt like I was wasting their time and I was a horrible person. I was definitely not a born salesman, not at all. And I think what changes, obviously, there's a bunch of scripts and templates and stuff like that, which is very helpful because it sort of gets the just the boring stuff like writing emails kind of out of the way, so you can focus on actually finding new clients and whatnot. So that's one aspect. But the second aspect is like, you can just focus on going out there and trying it out. Like the only barrier is yourself at this point. And with all the mindset calls and talking to your coach and all that kind of stuff, that disappears as well, because it's like, well, now all you've got to do is apply the methods and you're going to get results.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. That's why we do what we do, right? It's really good to see that you have implemented it, though, because there are still many people out there, right? They see a coaching program, or they buy a course, or they enroll in some sort of mentorship program, and they never get results. And they always look at the ones that get results, and they're asking themselves like, oh, well, is this a scam? And these are just paid actors or whatnot, right? So what would you say? Why do you get results in a program versus other people who always jump from course to course to course and never get anything?
There's a couple of things. I think so. I did 2 other courses a few years back that weren't really satisfied. Well, I mean, I learned a few things, but it wasn't revolutionary for me. The key difference for me in this course was accountability. You've got a coach that you can message at any time of the day, and that kick your ass if you don't do what you said you were going to do, which is really helpful. I mean, sometimes like you'll say to your coach, hey, I'm planning on doing this thing, and if you haven't done it the following day, they're going to message you and say, hey, have you done it? So there's people that keep you accountable, making sure that you're actually doing the work, and just having people you can talk to. I mean, like, regardless of where you're at in your business, in your life and whatnot, you can be the best in the world at something, but you're always going to have, periods of doubt where you're not entirely sure of, is this the right thing? Am I doing what I should be doing? And just having someone to talk to vent to, and that's pretty much always got the right answers, it seems, is really helpful. So that's one of the things that really, pushed me across the line.
That's also one thing that we advertise a lot, where we say, hey, this is not a course, right? This is a consulting program. And you just mentioned it, that the main difference is accountability and actually having people to talk to and not just consuming material. When you did these other courses in the past, how did you go through them? Was it just like a video training that you watched, or what was the structure?
So the two courses that I did were basically, yeah, just a video course where you had a bunch of lessons that you would watch. Some had like a PDF as well, so you could take notes, or if you didn't want to watch a video, you just had like a PDF recap of what you talk about. They'd have, both of them had Facebook groups where you could ask questions, share knowledge, share wins, that kind of stuff. But they focused on photography and videography as a whole. So there was like, how to take photos and how to set up your camera and whatnot. And there were also sales and Instagram modules and sections within the course, but they weren't like laser focused on sales outreach mentality. That was the difference. And there was no coach, there was no coaching, there was no one to, answer your questions as often as our coaches do. Yeah, there were no live calls. It was just, here's a bunch of knowledge, take it or leave it.
Got it. And then it's like up to you to do something about it. I mean, still with us, same thing. VBA is not a magic wand and you just wave it and boom, you have a 10K a month business, right? You know that. It's still, you have to put in the work. It's still up to you. But how has having a coaching team helped in actually putting in the work compared to these other courses that you did where, well, you didn't really get to a level where you wanted to get to?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things. Just the live calls. I mean, one of the ones I love is the mindset call, where we talk about how to improve your overall life. It can be, meditation, sport, organizing your life, that kind of stuff. And discussing in those calls how to structure your life, maybe getting up earlier, finding time in your calendar to do things, that kind of stuff, like just optimizing your life, so to speak, has been really helpful. But also in the course and on the Facebook group and WhatsApp, there's always a lot of conversation about, hey, book time in your calendar to do this, do that, do this. And so you don't really have any excuses to not do it anymore. And also having accountability and a coach that says, hey, have you achieved this goal? You said you were going to do this. Have you done it? Yes, no. Having someone behind you that, pushes you to do what you said you were going to do is really helpful. But obviously at the end of the day, if you don't put it in the work, nothing's going to happen. But because there's a great team that's supporting you and, motivating you and pushing you to do the work, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And in the end, it's all about you doing it. Now, I'm 100% sure that any videographer who watches this is like, okay, Mark, you did 10K a month. What niche was that in? What kind of videos did you do in order to get that?
So I work in the travel and luxury hotel niche. I got inspired by the Sam Colders and beautiful destinations of the world, and started doing that. Basically, yeah, it was immediately that niche 3.5 years ago.
I love it. And you've always stick to it since then?
I'd say that's like 90% of my work. The other 10% is the occasional corporate gig, interviews, like filming seminars and that kind of stuff, which is not as fun or rewarding because you're not traveling and you're not going to fancy places, but it pays the bills as well. So yeah, but it's interesting because you're pretty much living the dream of so many videographers, right? You're traveling, shooting amazing content, while making a bunch of money. How does that feel for you right now that you look at your life compared to 2.5 years ago when you thought, oh, I want to go into that direction? Well, when you put it like that, sounds pretty good. I'd say, I mean, I've come a long way. I always wanted to find a way to bridge the gap between what I love doing, which is travel, and making videos, but also make a living out of it. That was always something that was super important to me. I think 2 years ago, obviously I was starting, and there was a lot of questions of, is this going to work out? Is this going to work? Am I going to be able to make a living out of this? I kind of wish I had VBA, 2.5 years ago to, get a head start on all of this, to be fair. But it was definitely, started off doubting, not sure it's going to work, but, just continues applying all the things that I learned along the way and made it work.
So would you say the Video Business Academy, the VBA, is like a head start for videographers to get along faster than they would if they did it on their own?
Yeah, I'd say so. I would have liked to have it much sooner. Obviously, I'm very much self-taught in all the things that I do. It's just the way I work. I learned how to use a camera on my own. I like learning stuff on my own. And so I applied that to starting a video business 3.5 years ago. It was just figuring out all the things by myself, which was, I mean, I learned a lot. Obviously, it was immensely valuable, kind of figuring a lot of stuff out on your own, but there's only so much you can learn on your own. I mean, obviously there's YouTube videos and whatnot, but having people in your corner that are experts at sales, outreach, negotiation, persuasion, that's super helpful. That's super helpful.
It's actually, you just brought up one of the keywords that I hear often when we talk to people, right? When we talk to videographers who say, well, it sounds good, but I believe that I can find this information online, right? I believe that I can do it on my own. And you are a person that said, hey, I'm a self-taught videographer. That's the way I roll. What would you say to somebody like that who says, well, let me just wait with that. Let's just try on my own.
You can try. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, as we discussed earlier, there are very few people I know that are natural born salespeople. Like there's only so much you can learn. And even some of the most influential people in the world, maybe, you know, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, they've all got coaches. They've all got people they talk to. They've all got people they aspire, they look up to. So if, you know, the top dogs of the world have coaches, have people around them, then, you know, why don't we?
Well, that's a fair point. I've never looked at it from this perspective. Well, I love it. It's 100% true. It's 100% true. I've never gone without a coach since I started my business. Since I had my first coach, never went without it, and will never, because it's just like it accelerates the learning curve. It shortens
100%.
the learning curve, and that's the main thing here, because time is the most precious thing in the world, right?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So let's assume this skeptical person sits here, they watch this interview, and they're like, yeah, this smart guy, he must be a hired actor, he's paid. Right? Where can I find you online? Where can I see you and see that you're an actual videographer?
Yeah, well, just type in my name on Google, Mark Hatchamu. You can put a link somewhere in the video or in the description, whatever.
Will do.
I've got just my website, markhatchamu.com. I've got a lot of my video work there. I've got my Instagram, which is instagram.com/markhatchamu. That's on there as well. And just, yeah, shoot me a message, whatever. Shoot me a DM. I'll be happy to chat, happy to put you in the direction of VBA and, yeah, give you my honest feedback on what they've done for me.
Yeah. Amazing. Dude, I appreciate your time so much. I appreciate you hopping on. And
Awesome.
I'm sure this interview will inspire so many videographers around the world. So I'm super excited for that, and wish you much more success in 2023.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Appreciate it, mate.
Appreciate you. All right, if that inspires you and you want to achieve the exact same thing like Mark has achieved in the Video Business Academy, then what you should be doing next is go watch our free video training where I explain the Video Business Academy consulting program. It's linked right next to me. And in this program, what you're going to learn is how to make more money as a videographer, how to get premium clients, and finally never worry about financials again, because you know exactly how to get these deals and these juicy projects in and make $10,000 per month or more consistently. So go check that out right now.